You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 178.2, our girls basketball regional previews and predictions with guest Michelle Garmon, the sports editor at the Elwood Call Leader and Tipton Tribune. You will also hear from Alexandria head coach Mickey Hosier, Sheridan head coach Jaidlin Bradshaw, and Anderson Prep head coach Josh Fathauer.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
All right, Michelle, you and I are going to go through all of the girls basketball regionals starting in 4A, working our way down. We are going to make our predictions, and we're going to hear from some coaches as we do. Of course, the ones that we're most interested in, we will talk a little bit more about, but some of them will just make a prediction.
All right, sounds good.
And we will start at Decatur Central, 1 o'clock on Saturday in the 4A South Regional. 19-6 Pendleton Heights against 15-8 Lawrence North. I'm not sure either team was expected to be here, but both definitely deserve to be here. Michelle, I say that Pendleton Heights wins by 5.
I think Pendleton Heights wins too. They're on a roll right now, and I think they win next Saturday. Semi-state might be a little tougher, but I think they win this regional.
Speaking of on a roll, Pike is 18-6 and pulled off some upsets on their way to a sectional championship. Franklin Central's 18-9. That game's at 4 o'clock at Decatur Central, and I say Pike by 9.
Yeah, yeah, I think Pike will probably win. Yes, I think
You
they're
think it'll
playing
be
well.
closer than that, though?
It could be.
Yeah.
Franklin Central they're not bad. So
All right. In the South, 23-4 Floyd Central, which ended Bedford North Lawrence decade-long sectional championship winning streak, goes against last year's 3A state champion Gibson Southern, which is 20-6, and all their girls programs do is win at everything. That game is at 7 o'clock at Boonville on Saturday. And Michelle, I'm going to take Gibson Southern by 3 points.
yeah, I think Gibson Southern will win. Maybe close, maybe a little bit more than that. You know, Floyd Central, they're probably excited to what they did last week at Gibson Southern. They know, I mean, this is just business. This is a business venture, a business trip for them.
And 12 and 11 at Bedford o'clock. At Bedford at 7 o'clock. 12 and 11 East Central goes against 22-2 Bloomington South. Um, Bloomington South is going to win. I'm pretty sure. Um, I, I, I think it'll probably be closer than the records would indicate. I'll say by 7.
Yeah, I think Bloomington South will win too. It's at Bedford. It's not very far away from Bloomington. We don't have to travel very far. 7 o'clock, nice 7 o'clock game. Yeah, I maybe I'll agree 7 to 10 points.
All right. So you say a little bit more, maybe. All right. And then in the North, we've got number 1, unbeaten Hamilton Southeastern against 24-2 Homestead. The winner of this game probably comes away as the favorite to win the state championship. And you would have to think that Hamilton Southeastern is the favorite, but either team could win this game. I'll take Hamilton Southeastern by 6.
I'll take Hamilton Southeastern. I won't be surprised if Homestead wins, but I remember the sectional pairing show real quick. Is Greg Rakestraw said everybody thought this Homestead team would be a state contender next year.
Mm.
So
Well, I think they
you're
are
early.
this year as well.
Yes, and then they have been in the past, and it will be tough. Why I'll take a little bit. Why I'll take Hamilton Southeastern was they played outstanding defense against Westfield in the second half last week when they needed to, and Makalewski did not. Her outside shooting was not on, but she took over the game, and and drove to the basket and hit pull up jumpers, and she adjusted. She didn't force up shots. So I think Southeastern, but I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be back and forth. It's going to be in single digits. it could come down to it's a game that could easily come down to the last possession.
That game, by the way, I don't think I mentioned 7 o'clock at Marion. If you don't have anything to do, I would highly recommend that you
Yeah,
go
and
see Hamilton
and check
Southeastern and Homestead.
right, and if you want, because I know the weather might be nasty, check it out. I watched Hamilton Southeastern on live stream. I watched them and Westfield. I was going back and forth between Sheridan and Hamilton Southeastern and streaming
Yeah,
last week to watch both of them.
yeah, good opportunity to do that. By the way, the game before that should be a really good one as well. 4 o'clock at Marion. 23-3 McCutcheon against 13-11 Snyder. Snyder was the defending champion. They're good. I think they're as good as McCutcheon, but I'll say McCutcheon by 2 points.
That would be good. McCutcheon has Riley Wetz, who is
Nice team.
went to Tipton, is the daughter of former Tipton coach Chad Wetz, who is married to Audrey Harp. So the Harp family, Greg and Mike were her brothers. So Lily is her niece, as
Right.
Alexandria guard Lily. So
Yeah.
nice thing for the families. Tough though that poor Grandpa Harp has got to make a choice on which way he's going.
Yeah. But speaking of which, Michelle, earlier today I released a podcast with the Alexandria girls basketball team from Pizza King in Alexandria on Wednesday night, and it's one of the best interviews I've ever done, and I can't wait for people to hear that. So,
Oh, great.
all right. In the At 2 o'clock at Laporte, both of the other 4A regionals are in at Laporte. 20-3 Hammond Central playing in its first regional ever is against 18-7 Valparaiso at 2.
I think
That
Valpo.
it's hard to say with Hammond Central. It's such a new program. Um, I would guess the Valparaiso is, Michelle, I would say a 8-point favorite.
Yeah, like I said, I think it'll be close. I think Valpo too. I agree with Valpo.
You think it'll be closer than that?
Not. I mean, eight to me. Eight is close to me. It's. I
All right.
say single digits. How's that? Single digits.
All right. 23-1 Warsaw is ranked 5th against 24-1 South Bend, Washington, which is ranked 4th. Two really good teams, two really good programs. I won't be
What time is
surprised at
that
all
game?
if South Bend, Washington wins, but I'm going to say Warsaw by a point.
What time is that game?
That game is 5 o'clock at Laporte.
That's another one. Stream it
Yes.
and stream that. Which, yeah. If you can find the stream, I would. I would do that. You're talking about two really good teams. Of course, Warsaw. I mean, they haven't won. I don't think they'd won in a while.
No.
And South Bend, Washington's got the one Reynolds girl. I think I know Washington's probably the favorite, but I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Warsaw won that.
Oh, I picked Warsaw by a point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I won't be surprised, and I think you're right. I think it'll be a nail biter.
Plus, Warsaw had the first high school girls basketball star in state history as well. So
And state championship,
that's
Judy
right.
Warren.
That's right. Class 3A, we start at West Dell at 7 o'clock, and this is in the north. 17-7 Delta playing in its first regional since 1993. Goes against Maconaquah, which is playing in its first regional since 2001. Delta hasn't won a regional in a long time. Maconaquah has never won one. Two programs that are new. But by the way, Michelle, Delta has 0 seniors. One thing that needs to be noted, though, is that their leading scorer, Griffin Knight, was injured in the semifinals in the sectional and is out for the season. So we do need to factor that in, and I still think Delta wins by 10 points.
I don't know if it'll be 10. Because if Maconaquah if they are hitting if they're hitting from outside, that's when they're really good. And the Mabin girl is pretty good. And I don't think Maconaquah has seniors either. So we're talking about two teams that could easily be back here again next year.
Yeah, two teams that haven't been here in a long time. Great job, by the way, by Tyrona Bending from Delta. Amazing job that she did this year, and that team just got better and better throughout the year.
Yes. And real quick, I want to go back one thing. Warsaw, you said by a point. I think Warsaw, I started to say I think they may be a little bit of a team of destiny, and why not? The IHSA is celebrating, this is 50
Oh, that's
years.
right.
The
Yeah.
50-year anniversary of them, of girls basketball becoming an IHSA sanctioned sport. So would it not be fitting for Warsaw to
Yes, it
end up,
would.
yeah,
Yes, it would. One of the great programs going back to the beginning.
yes.
Also in 3A, number 9 Norwell's 19-6 takes on 16-9 East Noble at 7 o'clock at Belmont. Norwell's going to win this one. I'll say Norwell by 11.
Yeah, I think Norwell too.
In fact, Norwell may just win this whole thing. All right. At Jimtown at 4 o'clock, 22-4 Columbia City, which is the highest ranked team in the North, takes on 16-9 Lowell. Columbia City is also a state championship contender, and they're going to win this game by double figures as well. I'll say Columbia City by 12.
I agree. I think it's going to Columbia City wins and probably double digits.
At 4 o'clock at Winnemac, it's 20-5 Culver Academy against 14-10 Highland. Culver Academy is clearly the better team. Highland's one of those teams, unfortunately, that was not in a very good sectional. Culver Academy by 19.
I'll agree. I don't know much about Highland, uh, a whole lot, other than I think that Jenny DeMuth, that used to coach at Tipton and was an Indiana All Star. I don't think, maybe Miss Basketball. I don't know, but she played at Indiana University too and was all Big Ten as a Highland grad. But that was
Nice.
many moons ago.
Yes, it was. All right, in the south of the state, which is where most of the top teams are in Class 3A, at 4 o'clock at Southmont, it'll be 16-8 Ron Colley against number 8 Danville, which is 20-5. I think this is an upset, Michelle. I'll take Ron Colley by a point.
And you know what? You and I are thinking alike because I think Ron Conley's better than its 16-8 record shows or indicates.
All right, we're both taking the upset. Number 12 Cathedral is 17-9, takes on number 11 Northview, which is 20-6. Cathedral's really good, Michelle. I'll take the Irish by 7.
I will actually take Northview in a close
Ooh.
one.
All right, that's the first one we've disagreed on. And then we go to 7 o'clock at the beautiful Charlestown Sports Arena, where number 1, 24-0 Greensburg takes on number 3, 23-2 Washington. Michelle, that's what you're talking about with a regional right there, and this is a toss-up. I'll take Washington by a point.
The Lady Hatchets.
Yeah, I think their tradition. I like their tradition a little more than Greensburg's, and you know,
I do too. I think when you I think Washington too, because I'll tell you what, I think it's really hard when you're undefeated.
yeah.
I think there becomes a lot of pressure on you. There are very few. I mean, there are some, but there are very few undefeated champions, and there's a reason for that because pressure builds, and you are always when you go in undefeated, the big target's on your back. And and against a good team, I mean, Washington loves it because normally they might be a lot of people would say, "Oh, look at them, they're favored." Well, oh, Greensburg is undefeated and number one. Pressure's on, and Washington gets to go in as the underdog, which is kind of nice, especially if you are a good team to be the underdog.
And in the other one, maybe the best game of the entire thing in 3A, at least 4 p.m. at Boonville. It's number 7 Corden Central's 20-5 against number 4 Evansville Central is 22-4. Evansville Central actually beat Corden by 11 points earlier this year, but Corden just came through a sectional with Scottsburg and Silver Creek and Charlestown. They are battle tested. I will take Corden Central by 3 points.
I'll agree with you because those
Wow.
schools that they beat in that sectional
Yeah.
are pretty good. I mean, you're right; they are very battle tested.
To Class 2A, which has most of our interest, Michelle. Two of the teams that we cover are in Class 2A. One of them is at 4 o'clock at Caston. It's number three Alexandria, which is 25-1, against number two Rensselaer Central, which is 23-2. And this is about as toss up gets. Looking at all the numbers, looking at the schedules, I'm saying Alexandria has a 52% chance of winning. I'll take the Tigers by a point.
I think the Tigers will win, and I actually think that it could be by about 6 points. Rensselaer Central, of course, I haven't seen this group, and I know it's gotten better. And they have some
Very
good.
impressive resume.
Yes, what I think though is, I think I don't think Rensselaer's played anybody quite as good as Pendleton Heights.
Well, they lost
Or
to McCutcheon twice. McCutcheon is
right, but
awfully good.
McCutcheon's not in Pendleton Heights. Pendleton Heights is better than McCutcheon.
You're
Um,
right. They do not play the toughest schedule in the world, but they got Benton Central and they've got,
yeah, and Ben Central was down this year. I mean, here's
yes,
the thing, the bad thing: the Hoosier Conference was down this year.
it
It,
definitely
it,
was.
it really was. I mean, top to bottom, that conference was down this year, and so that's why. I mean, and I really like Alexandria's chances. I think that those six seniors are on a mission. I think they're going to. I think getting that sectional win took a big, you know, knocked the monkey off their shoulder,
Yeah.
so to speak, or off their back, the monkey off their back, and
Hmm.
I think they're going to win on Saturday. And like I said, I think it's single digits, but I think it might be more than one.
All right, Michelle, let's hear from Alexandria head coach Mickey Hosier. Well, Coach, I got to interview your entire team on Wednesday evening, and that was so much fun. The first thing that I asked them was, did you feel more relief on Saturday night or joy?
Yeah, probably a good mix of both. You know, I think I've coached long enough to know that you're just not going to win all the time. And I won a sectional in my first year of coaching back in 2003, and then had played in the championship a couple, 3 or 4 times, and fallen short. And so, there's definitely some relief, but more just like joy and for the players. And I know they said to you just how much we've talked about what it would feel like to win a sectional, and so a lot of joy for them.
I bet, yeah. By the way, I bet this team's been a lot of fun to be around this year. Having an extra week or two here is, that's probably a really good thing too.
Yeah, I was talking to my assistants just about remembering going through this as a player, and even you know in college being able to win our conference and go to the NCAA tournament. Just when you have special teams like this, it just gets to the point where you love being around each other, and you don't want it to end. And so, I think that's kind of what I've witnessed this week. It's like when we've been on the court or we've had dinner or whatever, it's just like there's a certain joy that around the girls. And I've coached long enough to know that that's not always the case. So it's just been
Yeah.
really fun to watch. And so yeah, it's awesome, and I'm hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, a lot of laughing. I thought a good
Yeah.
word yesterday was joy.
Yes.
In fact,
Yeah.
so a
Yeah.
lot of fun to hang around. So appreciate you guys allowing me to do that, Coach. All right.
Absolutely.
What do you know about Rensselaer Central? And obviously, huge test.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we have one loss to Pendleton, and I think they're probably close to that type of a team, and maybe not as good as Pendleton, but real
Right.
close. And just have a lot of quality basketball players, and play a style a lot like ours, where they're trying to pressure people and get it up and down the floor. And so, it's going to be a tall task. They're a really good team, and I told my girls that, and I said we're a really good team, so it should be a great game. We're gonna have to play our best, and I feel good about that we will play our best, and so should be fun.
Obviously, Rensselaer Central is what you're looking at. Are you starting to think though about what could be now that you've gotten through the sectional?
You know, not really. Once I started watching film of them, I'm like, I would say there's a possibility that that us and Rensselaer might be the best two teams in the North. So, you know, obviously could uh could get beat by anybody at this stage when you're playing good teams. But
Sure.
I think this is going to be something that's going to take our whole focus. And yeah, when there's 16 teams left in your class, obviously you know that you're close. But you got to really take it one game at a time, knowing how good everybody is, and just like I said, watching them on film, they have our full attention.
Yeah, every year is difficult to see come to an end. This year, especially if it isn't in Indianapolis, it's going to be one of your hardest. Again, I know we've talked about this a few times, but being able to do this with your daughter has to make it a little extra special.
Yeah, I think in the end, like when you have a player as good as Jacqueline, I almost think, and I've said this when I was AD, like when we had a really good softball player or whatever sport, it's like you almost have a feeling that that kid deserves to win something just
Hmm.
because they put so much time into it. And
Yes,
so, just as good as Jacqueline is, it's like this is just kind of a cherry on top of her career. Obviously, she's got kind of all these individual things, but to win the conference and to win the sectional, like it would have been a shame for somebody like her to not have her picture on the wall or not cut the net down. So obviously as a coach, it's awesome because I'm the coach of the team, but just as a father, I'm just like proud that, she's able to, you've heard her talk all year. It's been all about winning
hmm,
and those other things will take care of themselves. And sometimes you can say that, but I know her well enough to know that she means it. She wants to win. And so that's kind of been cool to see as well.
all right, Coach. How does this sectional championship compare to yours when you were playing at Alexandria?
Um,
Emotionally for you?
Yeah. I mean, probably a little, obviously a little bit different. I
Yeah.
think when I was in high school, we ended up winning my sophomore and junior year. And with this group, it was kind of like we've talked about a lot. It's just getting close, but never finishing. And so, obviously a lot more calluses and just, heartbreak. So I'd say probably a little more rewarding just because just going through the process and the journey to get to this point. Um, Having my daughter with me, I mean, just a lot different emotions than probably when I was a player, and I think
For
probably
sure.
now I appreciate it a little bit more as well.
By the way, Michelle, I looked as we were listening to Mickey there, and Rensselaer Central is favored by 4 points, but according to the Sagarin over Alexandria, I still like Alexandria's chances.
I still like Alexandria's chances too, because I'll tell you what, Rensselaer doesn't have a Jacqueline Hosier, and and I just like the way that her supporting cast has really stepped up around her.
Yes,
You
that's
don't know which one, but there's about I mean, she's
yeah, three or
at
four
least
of them.
two out of the other four kids that start, and you don't ever know which two, but there's usually the number two and the number three solid contributors.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
Speaking of which, that's kind of the same exact case with Sheridan. Actually, they probably go deeper than that even. Sheridan is ranked 11th. They're 24-1. They've won 22 games in a row. They take on 19-6 Lewis Cass at 7 o'clock at Lapel. Michelle, I think Sheridan's going to the semi-state. They're going to win. I think comfortably. I think they're going to win this game by 13 points.
I think Yes, I think Sheridan is going to make it back-to-back regional champions. They've already made it back-to-back sectional champions in a tougher sectional, and I think were they in Lewis Cass's sectional a year ago?
I don't know. I can't.
I think that may be the one they went. I just I know Lewis Cass is good. They play well, but again, I like Sheridan. They got that group. I mean, Jaidlin's done such a wonderful job, and that they really play team basketball, and they all know their roles. And I mean, I know Kinsey Garner went off against Lapel, but they've got they usually have 3 to 4 players in double figures every game. So if you concentrate on Garner, um, you can be in trouble. And like I said, I think Sheridan will win.
By the way, they were in the Park Tudor sectional last year.
Oh,
Sheridan
okay.
was. Um,
Well, that's right. They went south last year. I
they
forgot.
did, yes. I spoke to Sheridan head coach Jaidlin Bradshaw earlier today. You listened to that interview. What are your takeaways from that?
I take away from it that you know, these kids have been there. They know what the challenge is this week, that they're very focused on a mission. Again, I mean, they've done the hoopla of winning back-to-back sectionals. They won a regional. So they want to just keep going. So I think that her kids are very focused. I think she's also done some fun things in practice to keep them loose, focused and loose. And I know people sit there and go, how can you be both? Well, that's what you want. You want your team to be very focused on a goal, but you want them to be loose. You don't want them to be tight and tense and worried about, you want them loose and confident. And I think that's what Sheridan is. And so I think they're, good. Now, 2-3, Cass plays a good 2-3 zone. So it'll be imperative that Sheridan takes good shots and just doesn't chuck up shots, because outside shots, because that's what Cass is going to give them. They need to work the ball around, and I think they'll be able to do that. I think they can have a good high-low game, because I think they can put Kinsey Garner in the high post, and when you do that, then that can create back cuts against that zone, because if she gets the ball in the high post, they're going to collapse on her, and I think she's good enough. She can find a teammate.
And here is my conversation with Coach Bradshaw earlier Thursday. Well, Coach, obviously your team's won 22 games in a row. You knew this was a special team, but Saturday you had to love what you saw from your team.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We were a little tight coming out of the second half. I mean, we just talked about how we couldn't let up, and yeah, I think, Lapel had a really good plan coming into the second half of just letting, Lanaya score the basketball, and she did just that. So we had a little bit of I don't want to say a letdown, but almost just we had to get our act back together after
Right.
after halftime. So they did a good job of just playing through it and sticking with it and finishing strong. So we're really happy to see that.
And what we've been saying all year about your team is that it's great. Obviously, you need a star on your team, and you have that.
Sure.
But the pieces around her have been so good. But on Saturday, Kinsey just took over, didn't she?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I mean, of course, if you ask her, she's going to say that, she couldn't have done it without her teammates playing amazing defense, and she couldn't have done it without, her teammates having great offensive spacing and making good passes and finding her when she was open. But yeah, I mean, she just did what she needed to do. She took care of business and she did her job. That's for sure. Hard to argue with that. So, hopefully she can bring that energy and what she was able to do there the rest of the season, however many games we're lucky enough we get to play.
After you win a sectional, do you start to think about what could be, or is all of your focus on a pretty good Lewis Cass team?
We are just 100% all in on Lewis Cass right now. They're a super solid team. They do a lot of things really well. So, we're just trying to focus on, how do we beat them? What do we need to do well? And what do we need to prevent them from doing well to beat them on, Saturday?
Yeah, very strong defensive team.
Yes, they're super disciplined defensively. They run an outstanding 2-3 zone. So it'll be a challenge for us to see what we can do. We haven't seen a ton of 2-3 zone this season, so we've been really focusing on that in practice this week, but we're also staying ready and staying prepared for if they throw something different at us. We know they're super well coached and that they're very capable of throwing something different at us than what they've done all year. So just trying to stay mentally focused and prepared for that.
Obviously, you were sectional champions last year. You know what this is like. But what's practice been like this week? Has it been a lot of focus? Has it been relaxed? Has it been fun? What's practice been like this week?
I think a lot of focus, but also trying to incorporate some fun in there as well. We know that this is just extra time that we're blessed to get with our seniors. So we're trying to work really hard and stay super focused and locked in, but also have some fun at the same time. We took him to LaBelle last night and then went and got him some food after, just for regional practice over there. So just trying to keep everything focused, but also keep it in perspective that, they are teenage kids and they do need to have fun. And it does need to be fun in order for them to be, in order for them to win, it has to be fun.
Yeah, as you know, these days, these events, they only come once in a lifetime, and you've got to
Yeah, for
appreciate it
sure.
while you're doing it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, just trying to take it all in and let our seniors really enjoy every step of the way.
Michelle, how cool would it be if Alexandria and Sheridan played each other to go to the state finals? They're 2 wins away from doing it.
I know, and it'll
Maybe.
be, yeah, if they both win, it's going to be interesting to see how that draw goes on Sunday.
It will be very interesting. All right. Um, if they do win on Saturday, their opponents will be either number 5 East Side, which is 25-1. They take on 15-11 Andrean. That game is at 1 o'clock at Jimtown. And I'm guessing that the records are not going to tell the entire story on this one, but Eastside is a favorite for sure. I'll take Eastside by 10.
I will too. I think Eastside will. I don't think Andrean is quite the Andrean team
Right.
they've been. I mean, and their girls are a little different than their boys. And I think Rensselaer beat Andrean pretty handedly earlier this year. So
Hmm. Yep, I think that's right. And at 1 o'clock at Caston, right before the Alexandria game, it's number 17 Whitco, which is 20-4 and playing in its first regional ever. Won their first sectional title ever on Saturday. They take on number 12 Bremen, which is 24-2. That should be a really good one. But Michelle, I'm going to take Bremen by 4 points.
yeah, I'll agree. I'll take Bremen too. Although, um, you know, uh, Whitco they've had some good teams. I think Whitco was actually in 3A for a while, maybe a couple years. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think.
Yep. That's right.
And they fed into like the lures sectional. So,
Uh huh.
that was tough. Or even in 2A, I think when lures was 2A, they fed
Right.
into the lures sectional, and that was a tough going for them. So they've
And a
had some
lot
good
of good
teams.
2A and 3A programs in that area.
Yeah.
All right, in the South, number 7 Northeastern is 24-1 and takes on 13-12 Heritage Christian, which the record will be deceiving on Heritage Christian. That game's at 4 o'clock at Southwestern in Shelbyville. That should be a really good one, Michelle. I'm going to say Northwestern's going to sneak it out. They're going to take it by
North,
8 points. Northeastern.
Northeastern,
Yep, 8 points.
8 points. I'm gonna do a shocker. I'm gonna pick Heritage Christian because Heritage Christian plays a 3 and 4A schedule,
Yes, they do.
and Northeastern does not.
No, they
And
don't,
they
but they're still the better
That well,
team.
and I will say this: that makes a big difference because I
It does.
saw a Tri Central team in Class A. People said, "Oh, because I think the first year they went down there, they'd lost like 8 or 9 games. Oh no, it's going to be North Vermilion because they'd lost once or twice." And I'm like, "Yeah, North Vermilion's played a solid Class A schedule. Tri Central's a Class A school who's played has played 2 and 3A teams, and that makes a difference." And so I'll take Heritage Christian.
The records are deceiving, but Northeastern is still the better team. All right. Park Heritage just 22-4 takes on 19-7 Monrovia at 1 o'clock at Greencastle. Um, this one is another one that's probably pretty close to a toss up. I'll take Park Heritage by 3.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
At Charlestown, 4 o'clock. Number 9 Lanesville, Angie Hinton. I don't know if you know her, but she showed up at Lanesville 7 years ago. They had never won a sectional. Since she's been there, they've never not won a sectional. They are 20-3. They take on number 1 South Knox, which is 24-2. Of course, Lanesville is the two-time defending Class A champion and moved up to Class 2A because of the success factor. Whew, I will not go, Michelle. I will not pick against Angie Hinton. I'm going to take Lanesville in a shocker. But
I will agree with Lanesville. And, I said this because we were talking about this during football season. The success factor, and that's another reason I think I took Heritage Christian too, because of their tradition.
yeah,
And but Lanesville, they've been there and all the way through that and everything, and so they're not. I mean, it won't matter who they're playing.
and they went 20-3 against a schedule that includes all the best teams in the state in the southern part of the state. So
Yeah.
that's a really good team. I don't think they're quite as good as the last 2 years, but they are definitely tested. And number 10, Brownstown Central. Speaking of a school where all their girls teams win at everything, they are 21-5. They take on number 16 North Posey, which is 19-6. That game's at 4 o'clock at West Washington. And Michelle, I'm pretty sure Brownstown Central is going to win this game, but I think it'll be a good game. I'll take Brownstown Central by 5.
I'll concur.
All right, we go to Class A and we start in the South. That's because that's where Anderson Prep is. They're at 1 o'clock at Southmont against Greenwood Christian. Anderson Prep is 17-9. Greenwood Christian is 7-17. That again is deceiving. Anderson Prep clearly has a chance to win its first regional championship in program history, but I'll take Greenwood Christian by 3 points.
Yeah, that probably will be Greenwood Christian, and I know the records are deceiving. I'm so happy for APA, Anderson
Yes.
Prep. I was there last year when they won their first ever sectional game, beating Tri Central, and almost turned around and almost won the sectional. I think Delville won on a buzzer beater or something like that. And for Anderson Prep, they're capable of winning.
Yes, they are.
They've got to avoid the stretches where they get turnover prone, because I think that's happened even this year. And Olivia Peoples has to stay out of foul trouble and be on the floor a lot and be able to play a lot of minutes. She gets in foul trouble, and Anderson Prep is in trouble.
At 1 o'clock at Southwestern Shelby. Oh, shoot.
We got to talk about. We
Yep.
got to put
Yep.
APA coach in.
Yep. And earlier Thursday, I spoke with Anderson Prep head coach Josh Fathauer, who joined the Central Indiana Sports Report for the first time, and he's acknowledged. Look, Greenwood Christian is 7-17, but that's a really good program that plays up.
Yes.
Your thoughts on what he had to say about the matchup, Michelle?
Yes.
Any thoughts on what he had to say about?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, it was neat to listen to him. I know he's excited, and the nice thing is he knows, and he's got his team. Whether his team will listen and believe, but he knows that Greenwood Christian is better than their record, and as long as his players listen and they refocus in, it'll be interesting to see how it comes out and how they come out prepared for that. Because I will say this, APA's with their sectional, they hosted it, I believe. That's a small gym, so it could be a bigger. Although I shouldn't say that, because I bet Greenwood Christian, a lot of those private schools, they don't necessarily always draw big crowds. So.
All right, let's hear from Anderson Prep head coach Josh Fathauer. Man, what a special season it's been for your team.
Yeah, it's definitely been a memorable one, not only for the team but for the school. Yeah, as obviously this Saturday we won our first sectional in any sport at Anderson Preparatory Academy, so that's a very big win.
Yeah, very big deal. And of course, You talked about it. The boys' team has had an historic season. Your team's been a little different. You've kind of been building toward this, where they've kind of come a little out of nowhere. How special has it been watching your teams, mostly juniors and seniors now, kind of grow into this team that's now a championship team?
Yeah, well, for me, it's been more than just 4 years. I've been watching them grow since sixth and seventh grade. I was their junior high coach,
Oh, I didn't
and
know that.
then yeah, and then my first year was their eighth grade year for most of them. Obviously, they're not all seniors, um, but yeah, I've been watching them grow, and ever since their freshman year, we've improved on wins. That's just a testament to their hard work, and they're willing to achieve good things, and that's what makes it more special. Is I'm not just seeing the last 4 years, but I see where they were, when they were small at seventh grade.
Right.
So it's a very good, memorable thing for me. So I always remember it.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people know about Olivia Peoples on your team. Tell me a little
Right.
bit about the rest of the team and what surrounds her.
Well, we have five seniors, and they all bring something different. Whether it's dependability, always committed to being there every day, and others leading by example. Some of them it's their hustle, some of them it's their rebounding ability. They all bring something different. And then we have some juniors and seniors. Claire Fulton's really took on the role of hitting some big shots for us. LaDeja Chambers is one of our defensive specialists, along with a freshman who, for a freshman to be playing in a varsity game in a sectional championship, Samaria Moody did a great job for us. So I'm proud of them. And then obviously, about, our seniors, and Kaylin Ward stepped up. We were in a little bit of foul trouble early on in the sectional, I think Friday night. And that's a testament to the young girls. Is there was a point in a game, I think third quarter, which uh, Olivia Peoples and Kaylin Orr had three and then four fouls, and the rest of the girls, they stepped up and they found a way. And I'm just proud of them for that. Just is always working hard, never giving up, and that's just something we teach throughout the whole basketball program. So
Yeah, one player does not make a championship team. You definitely
no,
have to have more than one. And speaking
right,
of championship teams, Greenwood Christian came into the postseason with just 4 wins, but that's a program that knows how to win. I mean, they were winning
right.
regionals a couple of years ago, so you have to be a little leery of a team that, honestly, you've won more than twice as many games as they have, but not an easy task.
Right. Don't let the wins fool you with that. I mean, they play a tough schedule. They're very well coached. They play hard. In the films that I have seen, they play very hard, and they're playing well at the right time. And sometimes that's the best thing is, they're playing well at the right time. They're a young team. I don't know how much you know about them, but young team. They're number 23, number 10. I think it's Hunter and Infinity. They're both very good players, and they have great footwork on the inside. So, I mean, they're going to come ready to play, and hopefully we come ready to play. So, and I
Yeah.
think we will. So,
What's practice been like this week? Your first week ever at a practice post sectional.
we've been just trying to make it an experience because I mean, this is the first time I've ever been in a situation like this. So, we've been making it fun. They've been coming with a good work ethic. I love that. And the weather didn't help us yesterday. We had to cancel practice,
Mm.
but I'm sure we're not the only school that happened. So.
1 o'clock Saturday at Southwestern Shelbyville. It's number 8 Oldenburg Academy. It's 21-4 against 15-11 South Decatur. And Oldenburg Academy is going to win this game by at least 20 points.
And I don't know if it'll be 20 because I'm not sure about either one of those teams, but I do believe Oldenburg Academy will win.
Oldenburg Academy is good. They beat Wapahani. It's a good program. I mean, a good team this year. At West Washington at 7 o'clock. By the way, that's a great gym. Uh, Reveille is 15-10, takes on 19-5 and second ranked Borden at 7 o'clock. Again, Reveille, you definitely want to give them the edge on the um, tradition of the program, a program that's used to winning state championships. But this Borden team's different. They're again in that area where if you go 19-5, you're a really good team. Borden's going to win this game comfortably. I'll say 9.
Yeah, I think Borden will win too.
18-6 Northeast Du Bois takes on 23-3 second ranked North Central at 4 o'clock at Bedford North Lawrence. I I'll take North Central, but it's going to be by less than 5 points.
I think you're right. I think this is a game that's a toss-up and could come down. Two things is going to, well, three things come down to who controls the rebounding battle, who makes the fewer turnovers, and who's better at the free throw line, and that's who's going to pull out a close win.
By the way, Matt Vick is the head coach of Borden. He was on the Borden boys state championship team, and looks like his Borden girls are the favorites in the south part of the state. All right, in the north, the state champ, the two most favorite teams for sure are in the north, and we start with number one Marquette Catholic is 21-4. They might not even get past the regional. They take on number 5 Tri County, which is 21-2. That game's at 1 o'clock at Winnemac. And Michelle, I'm going to take Marquette Catholic by 10.
Marquette Catholic, they were pretty good. I think they won a couple of Class A titles. Then they kind of fell off, and then they're back. And so I think it will be Marquette Catholic. I don't necessarily know it'll be by 10, but I do think they'll win.
20-5 Elkhart Christian takes on number 9 Fremont at 4 o'clock at Belmont. Fremont looks like it's one of the teams that could win this whole thing. But they definitely are not guaranteed to win this one. Fremont by 7.
Yeah, I'll agree Fremont.
18-7 Carroll against 15-10 North Miami. Two teams that came out of very competitive sectionals. Again, we talk about a tradition. I think that probably favors Carroll at least recently, right? And I'll take Carroll by a point.
That's a tough one, but I'll take Carroll. I think they can win this game. I think they'll have a tough time in the semi-state.
Yes, that is correct. Whoever wins that game is going to have a very tough time in the semi-state.
Yes.
And in the final game, 20-6 Monroe Central plays Central Catholic 4 o'clock at Lapel. Central Catholic and Marquette Catholic are by far the two favorites to win it all. And Lafayette Central Catholic's going to win this game by 17.
I don't know if it'd be 17, but they'll win.
All right, Michelle. I think we agreed on almost all of them, but not all of them. So, and we look forward to seeing what happens in these games, and then talking about it next week and predicting the semi-states. Really looking forward to the semi-state draw, especially if we can get Sheridan and Alexandria there.
My plan is of right now is to, if Alexandria is at the if they do make it to the semi-state, I plan to be there.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that would be great, especially if Alexandria and Sheridan are both there.
Yes.
Not only is Sheridan one of our teams as well, but of course we love the head coach there. So.
Oh, yes, we do. I mean, Jaidlin she's done like I said, she's done a fantastic job. She has just impressed me so well. Jaidlin makes me think a lot of the late Linda Barnett, who coached Clinton Central for many years. And she never won a state championship. She took her teams to the semi-state. And this is back before class basketball.
Right.
So
I remember the great programs.
Yeah, and what always I thought made Linda and her teams so good was she was very calm. I mean, she knew how to get on her teams, but never to the point to where they picked up nerves. Even officiating wasn't going right. She might say something to officials, but she didn't argue a lot with officials, and she just always remained kind of unflappable.
Right.
And I think Jaidlin is a lot like that on the sideline, and Linda always had good command of her team, and I think Jaidlin's the same way.
Wouldn't be surprised at all to see either Alexandria or Sheridan in Indianapolis at the end of the season.
No, I wouldn't be either. You never know, because you get, like you said, once you get to those 4-team semi-states, and anything can happen, and it's a fantastic, it's just fantastic.
There is nothing better than the 3-game, 1-day basketball tournament in the Indiana State tournament. Fantastic.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I am so glad that they went back to that. If they were going to do one game, I'm glad they went back to the regional. I just wish all those years ago that they had done the regionals on Saturday and then the semi-states
Yes.
on another Saturday. They used
Yes.
to do the
Instead
regional
of
on Tuesday
rushing
and
it.
Wednesday and then play the semi-state on Saturday, which was so
Yes.
unfair to the girls.
Yeah, it was not good. It was not
Yeah.
good. I'm glad they fixed that, and they did. And I prefer this over the regional, but I understand both are pretty good. The 2-game regional or the 2-game semi-state, either way, it's pretty good.
Yes.
All right, Michelle. Very few things in the world better than the Indiana girls basketball state tournament, and we look forward to Saturday. Thanks once again to Michelle for joining me. She is the best. Also, thanks to Coach Hosier, Coach Bradshaw, and Coach Fathauer for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report. We are on YouTube now. Please go subscribe there, even if you're liked or subscribed or followed at one of the other places. Please go to YouTube and follow us there. We're going to have lots of videos and pretty cool stuff. And if I was going to recommend that you follow us anywhere, it would be at YouTube. Thanks as always again for listening, and do us a huge favor and share this podcast with your friends. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media.